Decades ago, darkness threatened the world. Only a human descendant of the dragon could stop it. The Aes Sedai, an order of witches who guarded the world, fought to restore balance. Moiraine and her ally Mandragoran began searching for the prophesied figure. They knew little, only that the dragon's descendant had been born and was now coming of age. They needed to find this person before the darkness consumed everything. And so the pattern of ages turns once more. This is the Wheel of Time. The film opens with people in red cloaks fleeing across a hillside. A woman reveals her power as Moiraine watches from a distance. She tells Mandragoran the hunted man is not the one they seek. After hearing reports of 4 teenagers born in the 2 rivers at the time of the prophecy, she decides to travel there. The scene shifts to the 2 rivers, a quiet village far from the cities. Egwene, a girl with rare talent, prepares to become a Bastari, a protector of the village. Nynaeve, her senior, braids her hair as a mark of honor and pushes her into the river for a traditional trial. Life in the village is calm. Rand, Perrin, and Mat, a young gambler, enjoy the warm community. Egwene's return adds to the cheerful mood. The mood changes when Moiraine and Mandragoran arrive to rest. The villagers are startled to see an Aes Sedai, known for power strong enough to end wars. Egwene and Rand remain focused on their own quiet time together. The next day, daily routines resume. Moiraine meets Nynaeve to ask about the 4 youths born during the prophecy. Nynaeve refuses to answer, fearing for her people, and a brief argument follows. In the forest, Mandragoran scouts the area. He finds scattered corpses and senses an imminent threat. Time moved quickly as the villagers lit lanterns to honor their ancestors. The night began with celebration and laughter. Without warning, dark forces known as Trollocs attacked and turned the festival into chaos. During the assault, Perrin fought to protect his partner. In panic and confusion, he swung his axe and struck Layla, leaving him in shock and grief. Nearby, Egwene and Nynaeve ran through the village searching for safety. Moiraine and Mandragoran arrived in time to drive back the attackers, but the fight dragged on and Moiraine was wounded. As more Trollocs poured in, Mandragoran urged retreat. Moiraine refused to give up and released a final powerful strike. By morning, the 2 rivers lay in ruins. Moiraine used her remaining strength to heal Rand's father, who had been poisoned by a Trolloc blade. Rand, angry and suspicious, accused her of bringing danger to the village. Moiraine denied it and said the attack proved one of them was the dragon reborn. Another wave of Trollocs approached. Moiraine ordered Rand, Egwene, Perrin, and Mat to travel with her to the White Tower to learn who among them carried the dragon's power. Their journey began as the village smoldered behind them. The story then reveals the White Cloaks, an independent force sworn to preserve order. They hunt not only creatures of darkness but also Aes Sedai, killing any they capture to expand their own control. Moraine's group pressed on while Trollocs gave chase. At a wide river they met an old boatman and crossed to safety, knowing Trollocs feared deep water. A Fade, a shadowy rider, arrived moments too late. Moiraine ordered the ropes cut and the boat sunk so the enemy could not follow. The old man tried to return for his family, but vanished in the violent current. The travelers moved on without rest. They followed Moiraine through the wilderness, aware that even deadlier creatures lurked beyond the Trollocs. Late that night, Moiraine approached Egwene while the others slept and led her away. Sensing Egwene's rare talent, she spoke of the 3 oaths, the laws formed after the war at the White Tower. These oaths forbid lying, require Aes Sedai to protect one another, and allow killing only in war. Moiraine believed Egwene held a dual power strong enough to defeat the darkness and might even be the dragon reborn. She gave Egwene a gemstone and told her to focus until her inner power answered. The gem reacted in an unexpected way. Morning brought new unease. Rand woke from a nightmare and Mat and the others reported the same experience. Moiraine explained that dreams can carry meaning but shared no details. When Rand pressed for answers, she refused and urged everyone to keep moving, which angered him. Egwene reminded him of Moraine's sacrifices and asked the group to stay united. Rand listened and fell silent. By evening they reached a valley. Seeing Moiraine weaken, Mandragoran decided they should rest. Rand and Egwene prepared a spot while Perrin noticed a pack of silent wolves nearby but said nothing. Night deepened and strange sounds approached. The Fade and the Trollocs closed in. Mandragoran carried the unconscious Moraine as they fled.
We need to get out of here.
Their horses stopped at a massive wall that even the Trollocs feared. Mandragoran led the group through the gate into a silent abandoned city. The city was Shadar Logoth, once the richest and strongest realm. During the Trolloc Wars, its people built a fortress without doors, yet an evil force rose within and destroyed every living soul. Even birds avoided its walls. Mandragoran warned everyone to stay alert and not touch anything. Later Mat awoke to a shadowy figure and wandered through the ruins. He discovered a small box holding a shining dagger. Soon the danger Mandragoran feared appeared. A black entity spread like crawling ants, turning stone and wood to ash. They scattered to escape. Mandragoran carried Moraine as the shadow chased them through the empty streets.
You ready?
After a desperate flight, they reached safety, though the group was separated. While Mandragoran checked Moraine's condition, Nynaeve suddenly stepped from the darkness. Earlier she had been captured by a Trolloc during the attack on the two rivers, but managed to escape into a sacred cave where she fought back and killed her pursuer. Now she rejoined Mandragoran, demanding to know where Egwene and the others were. He had no answer, since the group had scattered while fleeing Shadar Logoth. Seeing Nynaeve's skill as a healer, he asked her to treat Moraine, whose condition was worsening. Still angry over the destruction of her village, Nynaeve remained hostile and even tried to fight. Mandragoran restrained her and continued tending to Moraine. As Moraine grew weaker, he approached Nynaeve again and pleaded for help. Compassion finally broke through Nynaeve's anger. She led Mandragoran into the forest to gather herbs, refusing to explain how she had tracked them. When they returned, she began treating Moraine at once. Meanwhile, Egwene and Perrin traveled farther from Shadar Logoth. They paused to rest, and Perrin struggled to light a small fire. The effort stirred a brief surge of power in Egwene. As they drifted to sleep, Perrin dreamed of wolves devouring Layla. He woke in fear as real wolves approached. The animals followed them for miles but never attacked. Egwene sensed the wolves were guiding them. Their path led to a group of travelers. A woman named Isla greeted them and invited them to her camp. The Tuatharan, a wandering people who rejected violence, welcomed them kindly. A boy named Aram assured them they were safe among his people. Elsewhere, Rand searched for Egwene and Perrin while traveling with Mat. Mat wanted to return to the Two Rivers, hoping for a normal life with his family. Rand refused, convinced of Moraine's prophecy and determined to reach the White Tower. He believed Egwene and Perrin would head there as well. After crossing long hills, they saw a city in the valley and stopped at a small bar to rest. The keeper, Dana, greeted them warmly. A musician named Tom entertained the crowd and later approached Rand and Mat, beginning an unexpected connection. When the performance ended, Rand suggested asking Dana for lodging. Dana offered them a small job in exchange for a room. Rand agreed, but Mat stayed stubborn and again talked of returning home. Rand insisted they continue toward the White Tower. Mat doubted the prophecy and feared Egwene and Perrin were already dead. Frustrated, Mat stepped away to speak with Dana about leaving. Dana urged him to stay and then approached Rand, offering a comfortable room to make them feel welcome. Later that night, Mat remained set on returning to the Two Rivers. He went to a hanging corpse to take something useful for his escape. Tom appeared and offered help without argument, introducing himself and beginning their friendship. Meanwhile, Dana grew more interested in Rand and tried to draw closer. When he rejected her, she became angry and mentioned his relationship with Egwene as if she knew personal details. Rand was startled, but Dana gave no explanation and locked him inside the room. Sensing danger, Rand forced the door open and called for Mat. They tried to flee, but Dana confronted them, revealing that she had planned this meeting and intended to deliver them to the forces of darkness. Tom stepped in and warned that she served the dark, urging them to run. Elsewhere, Mandragoran saw Moraine recover enough to travel. Their path was blocked by the woman in the red cloak who had appeared earlier. She announced that she had captured a man claiming to be the Dragon Reborn. The scene shifted to Logoth, the man she spoke of, as he unleashed power that destroyed a kingdom. Though darkness tempted him to continue the slaughter, He showed restraint and soon gained thousands of followers.
Just like your sister. The last dragon broke the world.
After meeting Liandrin, Moraine was taken to a camp for further healing. Karine, another Aes Sedai, brought her to a cave where Liandrin and Alanna kept Logain confined. Moraine asked about his threat. Liandrin explained that Logain had erased a kingdom without touching anyone and now commanded an army of loyal supporters. Moraine strengthened the shield around him and prepared to move him to the White Tower. Meanwhile, the Tuatharin prepared to travel north. Aram asked Egwene and Perrin about their plans, and they decided to continue with the group since they shared the same direction. At the same time, Tom, Rand, and Mat pressed on through rough terrain until they found a barn and asked to stay for the night. A small family lived inside and reacted with caution, but Rand assured them they needed only shelter. The man agreed after some hesitation and asked them to clean the horse stable in return. The night began quietly until Mat suddenly felt ill and vomited black liquid. Tom recognized the symptoms as a sign of dark influence, warning Rand that the dagger Mat carried from Shadar Logoth was dangerous. Their talk ended abruptly when a Fade attacked.
Stop!
The family lay dead, and Mat lost control with a cursed dagger in hand. Tom urged Rand and Mat to flee at once. Elsewhere, Egwene enjoyed the kindness of the Tuatharin. Amid the music and laughter, Isla shared her sorrow with Perrin, telling how her daughter had been murdered by a cruel group. She asked Perrin to protect Egwene so that no similar tragedy would strike them. The next morning, the focus returned to the Aes Sedai camp. Liandrin grew uneasy as Logain's power surged and considered breaking the 3 oaths to stop him. Karine refused, warning that breaking the oaths would bring disaster. Before they could act, Logain struck. Outside, his army attacked. Mandragoran and the warders fought hard while Alanna raised a shield to hold the enemy back. The battle raged as Logain's cage began to crack. Moraine stepped forward and told him he was not the dragon reborn, using the moment to distract him while Liandrin and Karine prepared their power. Logain's strength kept breaking through Karine's defenses. Her warders felt her pain, and the defenders struggled to hold their ground. Alanna ordered everyone into the cave for protection. Inside, Karine's warders, enraged by her injuries, tried to kill Logain outright. Their attack triggered a violent surge of energy that injured many and left Mandragoran badly wounded. At the height of the chaos, Nynaeve released a sudden burst of power that healed the wounded in an instant. Seizing the opening, Liandrin and Moraine joined forces and stripped the dark energy from Logain. The Aes Sedai are powerful women of the White Tower in Tar Valon. They guard the world from destruction and channel the one power to fight the darkness. They are divided into 7 groups, each marked by the color of its shawl.
Does not wish you to hold!
Every Aes Sedai bonds with a warder, as Moraine does with Mandragoran, sharing a deep connection. A wounded Aes Sedai can only be healed by another, a rule meant to preserve balance and trust among them. About a month after the battle, Moraine and Mandragoran returned to the White Tower with Nynaeve and the survivors. They grieved for Stepan, a warder who had lost his Aes Sedai, knowing a warder should never outlive the one he serves. Moraine led Nynaeve to the warder's quarters and told her to rest. Nynaeve, worried for Egwene and the others, wanted to search for them, but Moraine refused, noting the danger and her lack of knowledge of the city. At the same time, Rand and Mat arrived in Tar Valon. They planned to stay at an inn owned by a friend of Tom before seeking Egwene and the rest. Rand tried to comfort Mat, who still carried guilt over the deaths of the family in the barn. Their attention shifted when a loud commotion filled the streets. Crowds gathered to witness the trial of Logain, the false dragon. After the spectacle ended, Mandragoran and the other warders joined Stepan as he prepared to melt down Karine's sacred ring. Mandragoran urged him to stay strong, but Stepan insisted that no one could understand the pain of losing a bonded Aes Sedai. Still grieving, Stepan went to Nynaeve for a sedative. After helping him, she quietly explored the White Tower. During her walk, Loyal, the eccentric library keeper, led her to Rand and Mat. She was saddened by Mat's condition and wanted to heal him, but he showed sudden signs of a dark force taking hold, alarming them all. At the same time, Egwene and Perrin approached Tar Valon, eager to reunite with their friends. Their path was blocked by white cloaks after Aemon, their stern leader, heard of their arrival. Isla defended them and argued that the white cloaks had no right to interfere, but Aemon ignored her and ordered their capture. The white cloaks seized Egwene and Perrin with ease. Egwene was taken to the camp and cleansed with salt water, while Perrin was dragged before Aemon. Believing Egwene to be an Aes Sedai and Perrin her warder, Aemon demanded that she channel the One Power. Egwene denied the accusation, but Aemon began torturing Perrin to force her compliance. That night Egwene struggled to watch Perrin suffer and considered giving in. Perrin, determined to protect her, confessed that he had accidentally killed Layla and told her to stay silent even if it meant his death. Aemon returned and continued the torture. Enraged, Egwene released a spark of power in a desperate attempt to fight back. Aemon mocked the effort, but the sight drove Perrin into a violent reaction. Egwene seized the moment, stabbed Aemon, and grabbed an Aes Sedai ring to aid their escape. Outside, a pack of wolves arrived and helped them flee. Meanwhile, Mandragoran kept watch over Stepan, who remained lost in grief. After a long night of quiet conversation, Mandragoran fell asleep. When he awoke, one of his knives was missing. Stepan's death the next morning brought deep sorrow to Moraine and the warders. During the farewell ceremony, the men asked Mandragoran to lead the service in honor of his fallen friend. The story moves decades into the past. A gifted young girl lived with her father deep in the forest, hidden from people with dark intentions. Their life was quiet until fire destroyed their home. Knowing his daughter was in danger, the father told her to go to the White Tower for safety. That girl was Siuan, now the Amerlin seat, leader of the White Tower and the Aes Sedai. After the capture of Logoth, the false dragon, she planned to use him as a warning to anyone claiming to be the Dragon Reborn. She chose imprisonment over execution, determined to break his spirit until he surrendered. Logoth begged for mercy, but she ignored him and ordered the guards to remove him. She then summoned Liandrin, Alanna, and Moraine to explain why they had broken the 3 oaths by gentling Logoth outside the tower. Such an act was forbidden. They argued that Logoth had killed Corrine and would have murdered others if they had not acted. Siuan was unmoved, reminding them of their duty to uphold the oaths. She declared that Liandrin, as mission leader, would face punishment. Liandrin protested, claiming the decision was unfair and pointing out that Moraine, a Blue Aja sister known for gathering information, had not shared her plans. Siuan pressed Moraine to speak. Moraine explained that she had been traveling from city to city searching for the true Dragon Reborn and had not expected the chaos that followed. She accepted responsibility and asked for forgiveness if her actions were judged wrong. After the meeting, Moraine left with Mandragoran to check on Mat and Rand. Rand insisted Mat only had a fever, but Moraine sensed something worse. She told Mandragoran to restrain Rand and examined Mat. She discovered the cursed dagger from Shadar Logoth and understood that it was feeding darkness into him. Moraine worked to save Mat and was struck by his ability to endure such corruption, convinced he possessed uncommon strength. Her thoughts broke when Rand approached to thank her for saving his friend. Soon after, Nynaeve arrived, and Moraine reminded her as a healer to guard against such danger in the future. Later, a Yellow Aja sister came to tell Moraine that someone was asking for her. It was Egwene, who had safely brought Perrin with her. Egwene returned the Aes Sedai ring she had taken and described their escape from Aemon, the White Cloak commander, explaining how Perrin's eyes had changed and how wolves had arrived to help as if connected to him. Moraine listened carefully and showed a brief flicker of recognition, which made Egwene wonder if Perrin might be the Dragon Reborn. Moraine offered no confirmation, saying only that the signs of the dragon's return were unpredictable. She instructed them to remain hidden because the world outside was too dangerous. Faced with growing threats, Moraine opened a dimensional gateway to meet Siuan, with whom she shared a secret bond. She admitted past mistakes and revealed that she had identified 5 possible candidates for the Dragon Reborn, all from the same village. Siuan shared that she had dreamed of omens showing the Dark One's strength rising. She urged Moraine to take the group to the Eye of the World to learn the dragon's true identity. She warned that the White Tower was unstable and that they needed to act in secret to avoid interference from other Aes Sedai. After agreeing on the plan, Moraine met Loial the next morning to prepare and invited Egwene and Nynaeve to meet Siuan. To protect the mission, Siuan publicly declared Moraine's exile as a cover. She performed the formal oath of punishment to make it convincing. Moraine left the White Tower immediately and traveled to the Waygate, the fastest route to the Eye of the World, where she waited for Egwene and the others to begin the quest. Egwene, aware of the danger ahead, asked what would happen to those who were not the Dragon Reborn. Moraine gave no answer, saying that once they crossed the gateway, events would unfold beyond their control. Before the journey resumed, a vision appeared of a white-cloaked woman fighting on a battlefield while heavily pregnant. She killed every attacker with precise skill but collapsed as labor began. Shaken by the vision, Rand worried about Matt's safety and wanted to turn back, but Loyal insisted there was no way to return. As their guide through the paths to the Eye of the World, Loyal led them deeper into the dark passage. In the heavy silence, Perrin spotted a guiding stone far ahead. The others were surprised by his sharp vision. Loyal examined the stone and noted it was damaged, warning that someone might be watching them. Moraine urged Loyal to keep searching for the correct route and told the others to rest for the long journey ahead. Suddenly Egwene sensed a hidden presence, a Trolloc following them, just as Rand released a sudden burst of power. The flare of strength drew the attention of dark forces that began to unsettle their minds. Loyal pressed them forward while Moraine opened another dimensional portal, pulling the group out of the Black Valley before the danger closed in. After the difficult crossing, they reached Fal Dara, the last fortress before the cursed land of the Eye of the World. Moraine reminded everyone to remain calm, explaining that the city was an ally and a safe place to recover. King Agelmar welcomed them warmly. Moraine warned him to reinforce the walls because Trollocs were gathering nearby, but the king insisted that his people had defended the city against Trollocs for thousands of years and would continue to do so. Moraine chose not to argue. Lady Amalisa, the king's sister and a former student of the White Tower, led them to their quarters. Moraine stayed focused on her mission and asked Amalisa to send a message to capture Matt, convinced that he was still under the influence of darkness. Only the Red Aja, she explained, could restrain a man's one power. Later Moraine took Egwene and the others to a tavern to meet her old friend Min, who could see visions of the future. Min looked at each of them and sensed a powerful bond tying them together, but she could not identify the true dragon reborn. Moraine told the group to prepare for the next stage of the journey, following the plan Siuan had set. Nynaeve, troubled by Min's visions, pressed Moraine for answers. Moraine explained that she sought only to protect them, because anyone who traveled to the Eye of the World without being the dragon would die and turn to ash between the battling forces. The warning shocked Nynaeve, who feared that none of them might be the dragon reborn. Moraine dismissed the doubt and urged everyone to stay confident, reminding them that hesitation meant defeat against the darkness. Privately, Moraine regretted the risks but saw no other choice. She asked Mandragoran to say farewell to those close to him in Fal Dara. He complied and noticed Nynaeve watching. When he invited her to join him, she understood that she too had loved ones and that the prophecy demanded courage from them all. That evening Mandragoran escorted Nynaeve back to her quarters so she could rest, and during the walk she felt the quiet pull of the bond growing between them. Elsewhere, Rand reviewed every strange event he had experienced and began to believe he was the dragon reborn. He visited Min to confirm his suspicion. Min described a vision of his birth on a battlefield to a mighty warrior, the same image shown at the start of the story. The revelation convinced Rand that he carried the dragon's power. At dawn, Nynaeve asked Egwene and Perrin if they were ready for the journey ahead. They agreed to face the coming trials together, but Egwene soon noticed Rand was missing. Mandragoran arrived with news that Moraine had released him from their bond, because Rand had confessed he was the dragon reborn. Moraine and Rand had already departed alone. Their path led across the cursed land. Corpses scattered along the way showed the brutality of the place. Moraine warned Rand to remain calm and not touch anything that might awaken hidden dangers. After a long march, she allowed him to rest near the 7 towers of Malkier, a sign they were close to their goal. Rand awoke from a dream of the Dark One, now aware of their location. Moraine asked him to describe the vision, but he refused and pressed forward. Sensing the threat growing, Moraine revealed a Sa Angreal, a relic forged from the strength of male channelers and able to magnify the One power many times. She told Rand to hold it and explained that when his life was in danger, the One power would rise on its own. His only task would be to direct the force through the Sa Angreal to strike the Dark One. Back in Fal Dara, Egwene struggled with Rand's sudden departure and began packing to follow him. Perrin stopped her, warning that the land beyond the walls was too dangerous. She fell silent and sought comfort from Nynaeve. Soon Perrin sensed approaching danger. King Agelmar and his soldiers prepared to face hundreds of Fades and thousands of Trollocs advancing toward the border wall. Agelmar vowed to lead the army himself and ordered Commander Yokota to hold the defenses. Lady Amalisa shared his fear yet stood firm beside him. He called the coming clash the final war and hoped their stand would give the rest of the world time to fight back. Far away, after their long journey, Rand understood they had reached the Eye of the World. Remembering Moraine's warning that only the dragon reborn could survive there, he urged her to stay behind, but she continued with him. Inside the chamber, Rand sensed the presence of a former dragon locked in battle with the Dark One. A sudden pull dragged him into another dimension where he lived a perfect life with Egwene and the child he had always imagined. Moraine tried to rouse him, but the Dark One's power held him fast. At the same time, King Agelmar faced the advancing Fades and Trollocs. He led his soldiers to hold the fortress walls while Lady Amalisa rallied the women of Fal Dara to fight. Perrin and Loyal, unwilling to watch from the sidelines, joined Commander Yokota to unearth a hidden relic meant to aid the dragon reborn. The enemy attack intensified. King Agelmar fell to a Trolloc spear as the defenses weakened. While helping Yokota, Perrin sensed another threat and moved away, only to find Paden Fane inside the fortress stealing the relic. Fane calmly revealed that he had sent the Trollocs to the two rivers to lure them into his plan, not to destroy them. When Perrin returned, he discovered Yokota and the others slain. Elsewhere, Amalisa led Nynaeve, Egwene, and two other women in a desperate attempt to repel the Trollocs that breached the walls. Their combined strength wiped out the enemy, but Amalisa lost control of the immense power and burned her companions one by one. She perished in the flames, and Nynaeve collapsed, badly scorched. In grief, Egwene released a surge of power that healed Nynaeve and brought her back from the brink. Within the dreamlike world, Rand continued to face the Dark One, who tempted him with the illusion of a perfect future. Moraine prepared to act, ready to strike Rand to prevent disaster. Rand broke free of the illusion, recognized the trap, and drew the one power through the Angreal to confront the Dark One. The blast shattered the Dark One's hold and ended the immediate threat. Fearing he might lose control and harm those he loved, Rand told Moraine to let the others believe he had died. Moraine, bound by the three oaths, could not lie, but Rand left before she could stop him. Mandragoran soon arrived and saw the Angreal stone shattered, an object thought to be indestructible. Moraine realized that Rand's immense power had broken the seals on the Dark One's prison. What seemed like victory was only the beginning of a far greater war. The end. So the moral of the story is, if you grab every shiny dagger and follow strangers through creepy cities, you will end up fighting monsters, breaking magical prisons, and realizing your friend might be a prophesied dragon, so maybe just stay home and bake bread instead.